Hi guys, welcome to my channel, welcome to List Week. I've filmed these all on the same day. I made the same joke in every video. This is not a copy of Anthony Fantano, but it's definitely inspired. Today, I'm talking about my favorite albums of 2023 in no particular order because I don't got time to make decisions, and that requires me to first make decisions about my favorite. I have one that I will say is my favorite, but the rest are in no particular order. Yeah, a lot of great music came out this year, and I'm just gonna put out a preface that if I don't mention an album, it's probably because I didn't listen to it, and you can always leave a comment about albums I miss that you think I would like or you think I should check out. So if I miss anything, feel free to say so, but that doesn't mean I'm hating on it. I can only get to so much because my job isn't reviewing music. I'm just a casual fan that makes commentary videos, and I've never done anything like this before. First, I gotta start out with my favorite album this year, which is Scaring the Hoes by JPEGMAFIA and Danny Brown. Anyone who knows me knows that I'm a huge fan of like experimental hip hop and of Peggy, and just this whole album is fantastic. Like every song is a banger. Particularly my favorites are Lean Beef Patty, Scaring the Hoes, Perfect, Kingdom Hearts Key, and Where You Get Your Coke From. But they're all good picks, and this album is just so incredible. If you love really crazy production, this is definitely an album you should check out. And they kind of took the world by storm with this one. I love seeing all these collab albums lately. I love seeing artists work together and like be good friends. It makes me happy, and this is definitely a great success about why collaboration works and why we should be friends and do stuff together. I'm a big fan. This and Scaring the Hoes, just fire. Love it. Love it so much. I cannot say enough praise for it. Just the lyrics are funny and just awesome. The samples are crazy. The production's crazy. Just incredible. Next is SOS by SZA, which came out in December, so I'm letting it count because that's how most lists work. They usually count December to November, so I'm letting SOS count. And I gotta mention SZA. I just love SZA, and this album was great. It has just so many bops on it. It's really long, but you know what? It's SZA, so I'm not gonna get too mad at her making a long album because there's a ton of bops on it, and you know, she's on her sad girl shit, and so am I, so I gotta respect it. I love her sound, the more chill vocals and instrumentals, and also the features are even really good. I'm just such a fan of this album, and she killed it as always, and I can't wait to hear more from her. Next, I gotta mention Something to Give Each Other by Troye Sivan, which is definitely an album I was impressed by, and if you told me at the beginning of this year that I would be thrilled about a Troye Sivan release, I would probably laugh at you, but God, is this like very impressive. I was never huge on him before, but he really has such a cool sound in this one. I mean, he worked with like A.G. Cook and other more experimental pop producers, and I think it just works so fantastic for him, and so many of the songs are just so fire. I was immediately impressed by Rush, and I love One of Your Girls, and Got Me Started is also a bop. I love Silly because I'm silly, and What's the Time Where You Are is good. It's so good. I'm a really fan of this pop album. I think it's fun, dancey, takes some hints from old dance pop, also sounding very new and refreshing, and I was very impressed by him with this one, so good job, Troye. Really love this one. Next is Red Moon in Venus by Uchis, which is just overall very dreamy and beautiful album. The cover and title I feel like perfectly describes the sound of this album. I can't even really describe it. It's just Red Moon and Venus. I don't know. Very lovey, sexy, hot, because that's just what Uchis is. That's just her thing. I love I Wish You Roses is a great one. Fantasy featuring Don Toliver is great. Blue is great, and so is Moonlight. I love Moonlight. So this is definitely a really good album, and I love Callie, and it's great to see her consistently release very good stuff. Next is 10,000 gecs, which I wasn't really like huge on this one, but I did want to give it a shout out because I did like quite a few of the songs on here, and I think the cultural impact of 100 gecs is a bit undeniable, and I'm a huge hyperpop fan. I wish they stuck more with the hyperpop vibe rather than the ska vibe, but it seems like that's the direction they really wanted to go, so I respect it, and a few of the songs kind of grew on me afterwards. Like I Got My Tooth Removed definitely grew on me after a while, and so did Dumbest Girl Alive, but 757 is easily my favorite on this album, and I also love Doritos and Fritos and Me 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 are also both great songs, so I wanted to give it a shout out even though I don't like it as much as their past stuff. Next is Pollen by Tennis. I saw Tennis on their Pollen tour in October. This album is very good. I feel like it's a little different from other stuff they've done. It feels a bit more, I don't even know, earthy, I guess. I don't know, it's pollen, so I guess that's what's in my head, but it definitely, the title definitely makes sense. It's not as like colorful as their other albums, which isn't inherently a bad thing. I think it just feels more clean than their other ones, which I think is an interesting growth for them, because I do love their past stuff. On this album, I like Forbidden Doors, Let's Make a Mistake Tonight, Gibraltar's fun, and Pillow for a Cloud is also very good. But there's a lot of other good songs on this, and I highly recommend it if you like a more chill, kind of dream pop, indie kind of vibe. Tennis is just a great band. I'm a big fan of theirs. Next is easily Heaven Knows by PinkPantheress, who is just someone that I really love, and this album is just so fun, and there's so many bops on here. Just Mosquito, Nice to Meet You, Ophelia, Feelings, and Capable of Love, and Boys a Liars on here, so it's just so many bops, and her sound is just so fun. Very dreamy, but also kind of, it feels a bit like a retro video game. Like she has a bit of a beep boop sound, but it feels very much more elaborate on this album. She definitely comes into her own as an artist in this one, and it's really nice to see. And I can't wait to see her do more stuff. I just love PinkPantheress. I think she's such a talented artist, and I really love this album. Next is Guts by Olivia Rodrigo, and you know, put the misogyny in the comments. I don't care. This album goes nuts. Like All American Bitch, Bad Idea Right, Vampire, Lacey. Like those are the first 4 songs. Like they're fire. The first half of this album is definitely way stronger than the second half, but it's still solid, I would say. I don't like some of the later songs as much as I like the first couple of songs, but it's still solid, and I definitely find myself coming back to most of them. And I think Olivia's definitely growing as an artist, and I think Guts perfectly describes what it's like to be a 19-year-old girl, which is probably when she was writing and making most of this. I think she's 20 now, but it just perfectly captures the experience of being a 19-year-old girl. I think this shows her definitely growing up a bit from Sour, but still kind of leaning into, it's still got a little bit of the, not immaturity, but naivety of being a young girl, which makes sense because she's a young woman. So I think her sound will continue to mature, but I think this is a perfect album for who she is at the time right now, and I really love it. Someone needs to be the corny pop punk girl, and I'm happy that it's Olivia Rodrigo. I think out of everyone doing the kind of like corny pop rock sound, Olivia does it the best, I gotta say. Next is Data by Tainy, which is like Latin electronic dance pop. I don't know how to exactly describe it, but this was recommended to me by a chatter, and they're like, you gotta listen to it, you gotta listen to it. And I was like, okay. And so I put it on in the car one day, and I was like, damn, this is cool. It's like a really cool sound, very electronic, and I feel like the album cover looks kind of anime, which made me be like, is this corny? And like, it's not. Like, the album cover actually works pretty good for the sound because it feels like very electronic, robotic, and futuristic, but like in a good way. A lot of the features on it are very good. Bad Bunny's on it, and I really love that song. Manana featuring Young Miko and the Marias is fire. Buenos Aires featuring Mora and Zion are really good. And La Baby featuring Daddy Yankee, Fade, and Sek are also really good. So I definitely recommend this if you're into like electronic dance music, Latin pop, anything like that. It's pretty fun to listen to. I had a great time listening to it. Next, I gotta mention The Record by boygenius. I'm a huge Phoebe Bridgers fan, and I've loved the boygenius EP for a while, so hearing they were releasing a full album was really big news to me. And they did not disappoint. I saw them in concert in September, and they sound really good live, so if you ever get the chance to see boygenius, I don't know if you will. I don't know, you probably have to go soon because they're probably gonna do solo stuff soon, but I love a lot of these songs. I can't even start naming the ones I like because I'm just gonna name the whole album. There's only one song that I don't really come back to, which is Satanist, which isn't even like really a bad song, but it's just like not my vibe. But otherwise, like all the other songs I come back to all the time and I think are just so lovely. It's just such a beautiful sound, and I love the three besties. Like their friendship is just so cute, and their musical talent together just works really well in my opinion. And yeah, I was really excited to see a full album of their sounds together, and I'm a big fan, and I'll definitely love this one for a very long time. Next is Did You Know That There's a Tunnel Under Ocean Boulevard by Lana Del Rey, which, oh my god, Lana's been releasing way too much, but I kept hearing so many praises for this album that I was like, okay, I'll give it a listen, and it did not disappoint. This is just so lovely. Like, listen to it. Just like, I love Lana in like her singer-songwriter, kind of like acoustic piano, just solemn era. It really works for her. I really like this sound for her. I've been really pumped about her stuff since Norman Rockwell came out, and this is definitely an even more like somber sound compared to that, and it just works really well for her, and this album just, it's fantastic. So please listen to it if you haven't. It's amazing. Next is This Is Why by Paramore, who I love, and I was unsure about this sound when this album first came out, but if anyone could pull it off, it's Paramore. And I think this album's really solid, and I think this is such an interesting sound for them, just to kind of, it's more punky, I feel like, but not in like pop punky way from like a while ago, more punk in like the 80s style, like the Pixies kind of, and it's really interesting, and I really like it. It reminds me of the vibes of Doolittle by the Pixies, which is a really great album, and this album is really cool, and I love the themes in it, and I just love how open and honest Hayley Williams is. And I've been dying for a Paramore album because I was huge on After Laughter, and that came out like 6 years ago, so I was really excited to see a new Paramore album, and it didn't disappoint, so really great to see it. Next is Mini Mix Volume 3 by Magdalena Bay, which, is this considered an album? I just wanted to put this because any opportunity I get to gas up Magdalena Bay, I'm going to take because they are so fantastic. This is only 7 songs, so it's like 15 minutes, but if you like a nice chill wave pop, silly, quirky kind of listen, this is definitely an artist you want to check out. People are gonna be like, that doesn't count as an album, but any chance I get to gas up Magdalena Bay, I'm gonna take it, so screw you. Next is The Land is Inhospitable and So Are We by Mitski. And god, I've been so like, I regret it now, but Mitski fans, just who they are and how annoying they've been and how much they've shamed me for enjoying the wrong Mitski stuff kind of turned me off from listening to new Mitski, but I had a change of heart and was like, I'm not gonna let her fans ruin this for me. So I listened to it, and my god, I can't believe I let her fans ruin it for me because this new album is so lovely. Just so beautiful. Every song just gorgeous. Like, this is definitely probably, I would say this is the most laid back I've heard Mitski, but like, it's not like lazy. It's just very sad and somber singer-songwriter. I feel like singer-songwriter is the vibe for a lot of artists this year, which is fine. I like to hear it. It's very, very lovey-dovey too. I'm a fan, and I was very impressed by the songs. Buffalo Replaced I really liked, and Heaven, so good. The Frost and My Love Mine Oh Mine, of course, like, really impressed me. Next is Javelin by Sufjan Stevens, and I never really listened to Sufjan before, so I was like, I kind of feel like fake just listening to this album just because of like, you know, everyone immediately heard the story from it and was like, what? Just, I didn't want to feel like I was just going into it for the shock value, but I was curious and I did want to like check out Sufjan at some point. So I was like, I'll start here now that he just released. And my god, is this just like, it's definitely sad considering the story behind it. I thought this was gonna be like another really heartbreaking album, but it felt more like a tribute to his late partner than like an album about grieving, which like I would have been like, do your thing, like grieve, like if this is how you do it, like go for it. But this didn't feel like that. This felt more like it's like a goodbye, but like a sweet tribute, like remembering his partner. It just felt not as heavy as I was expecting, which was okay. It just felt like sweet and cute, but also sad, and like clearly he misses him and like all of that, but I didn't feel like as distraught. I felt very like uplifted, and like, you know, we all go through mourning. We've all been through like the mourning period for someone, and this just felt like a very sweet way of portraying it. I don't know, it's just very cute, and I like it, so I definitely recommend it. I don't think it's as depressing as you would think, but I mean, it's still clearly sad considering the story behind it, but I think it's a very sweet tribute and not just all grieving and heavy. Next is That Feels Good by Jessie Ware, a very 180 from the last one I just mentioned, but this is like big dance pop vibes, like disco revival, like, but it's also just like insane. Like, this album is so insanely good. I could not recommend it enough. I wish I listened to this sooner. I didn't listen to this until like a few weeks ago, and this came out in April, but it's so fire. It's so fucking fire. Like, even if you're like a weird like anti-pop person, which I don't know why you would be, this is just so, the vocals are awesome, the instrumentals are amazing, just everything about this is just so fun. And like fun, sexy, sensual, disco-y, dancey, just, it's just like everything pop needs to be, and it's amazing. Please check it out, please. Like, I'm begging you, like, it's incredible. Next is Desire, I Want to Turn Into You by Polachek, which I was like, when I first heard Blood and Butter, I think that was the first song I heard of this album. I was like, what? But then like the sound kind of grew on me, and then I decided to check out the whole album, and I'm like, I like it. It's definitely very weird and experimental, but still poppy and kind of fun. And it felt very heard. This felt very natural for Polachek as an artist. If you like experimental pop or just any kind of weird production, or even her vocals are pretty impressive in this. I was very impressed by like some of the notes she was hitting and how nice her voice sounded in a lot of this. So I would definitely recommend checking this one out. I'm definitely a fan of this one. Next, I gotta mention Let's Start Here by Yachty, which was definitely not an album I was expecting this year. I don't know. I feel like it just kind of came out of nowhere, but I really like it, and I think it's such a cool sound for Yachty, and just all the way through, very cool sound. It feels like kind of a Pink Floyd type of vibe, but still with like Yachty's personality. Like, there's a lot of personality in this album, and I think it's very cool and very like cool to see him do this as an artist. I feel like a lot of people are going to take him more seriously now. Just sad that you have to do a kind of more rock thing to be taken seriously, but I'm definitely very impressed by this. But I hope he makes a whole album that sounds like Poland, because I love that song. But yeah, the Pink Floyd and just like kind of that era of rock, kind of like alternative rock, is just really cool. I think he does really well with that sound, and a lot of the guitar and instrumentals in general are just really cool. And last, I just wanted to mention the Metro Boomin presents Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse soundtrack, because I love that movie and I love this soundtrack, and it's just really fun, and I think it's perfect for the vibe of the movie, and I am really happy that the soundtrack to that movie was good and that the movie was also good. But that is my last album I have on this list. I didn't get to listen to a ton of albums this year because, again, I'm not a full-time music reviewer. I'm just a girl. No, just kidding. I do other things like school, and just I'm not a full-time music reviewer. I'm just an enjoyer. But I hope you guys like my list, and I hope you guys can give me recommendations or check out some of these. And yeah, thank you for watching, and I hope to hear more good music, movies, and other good things happening in 2024. It's definitely going to be a year for sure. It definitely will be a year. 2023 was definitely a year, but I did quite enjoy a lot of the music that came out, so I am grateful for that. So thank you for watching. Have a happy holidays and enjoy music and all that. Okay, goodbye.